that you're the reason God made Oklahoma? That was awesome. That was great. That's so good. Wow. Let me get my little clips off here. Man, when I got my fall schedule for The Voice this year, it's always like last minute when we get these schedules. And man, we got the schedule, and it was only like a month ago, and it landed literally right over the top, right in the middle of this event. And I mean, I did what any television personality would do. I threw a freaking fit and to the network, and I was like, I got to be there that day. I'm going to be there. Y'all can reschedule the shows or whatever. And it was a standoff for a few days, and finally I got an email from the vice president of NBC. And it was like one of those messages. It's like, man, congratulations on your induction into the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. And then he went on to remind me of my contract with NBC and how much they were paying me to be there. So needless to say, I woke up this morning in LA, and I'm going to wake up there again tomorrow morning. But thank you, NBC, for at least giving me this night. Already read that part. Perfect. I don't know what to say on something like this. I mean, this is definitely a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and it's a big deal to me. But before I let it slip by, today is the anniversary of the day that I lost my brother 24 years ago today, and it's a heavy day, and it's a tough day for all of us in my family, and my mom, my sister's back there, and there's a little part of me that thinks somehow my brother is up there, and he's like, hey, he had something to do with this day. Like maybe we can induct Blake into the Hall of Fame on this day, and they won't think about it. But nice try, Richie. We don't forget about you. From the time I was a teenager, that's when I really got into country music. I mean, like really, like big time. And I paid attention to everything about it and every artist. And one of the things that I always noticed that I thought was really cool was artists from Texas. You almost knew that they were from Texas before you even knew who they were. I mean, there was this pride about Texas and Texans, and it was just always, in your face. And I liked that. I thought it was so cool. And I always promised myself that if I ever got the opportunity, I was going to be that guy for Oklahoma. And so, hopefully I did. But I remember when I started thinking about that today on the way here. By the way, I just thought on the way here today, I was like, oh crap, I probably got to talk at this thing. So that's why, I mean, literally, look at this pile of crap I have here. So I started thinking about that today, and I thought back to when I really first realized I had that opportunity to talk about being from Oklahoma, and it was what Larry was talking about. Whenever Austin first came out, and I had like my first like big interview with some magazine. I can't remember what the magazine was, but so I walked into this room and sat down, and this lady asked me a few questions, and she eventually said, tell me what it was like growing up as a kid in Oklahoma. And I was ready. I said, well, man, when I was a kid, I spent most of my time outdoors. And I mean, when I say most of my time, I mean, I went in the house to sleep. Like, I remember my dad put an intercom system on the outside of our house, this is not a lie, to call me back to the house when it was like dinner time. It was like on his CB base station, flip over to intercom, Blake, get your ass back. So, So I told her, I said, I was always outside, and in the summertime, you know, I was looking for crawdads and catching lizards and turtles and locusts, and then when the fall came around, I remember when I was a kid, for extra money for Christmas, we used to go out and pick pecans. I mean, you went and got a bucket of pecans, and you took it to the producer or whatever, and they weighed it, and you got $5 or whatever, and that was a big deal. And then when the springtime came around, I remember, you know, we were always going out looking for morel mushrooms. Does anybody in here even know what morel mushrooms are? Okay. I'm not talking about getting high. You actually fry these and eat them. And so I told this lady that, and she said, okay, well, so tell me how you became interested in being a singer and an entertainer. And I remember I said, did you not hear what I just said? What the hell else was there to do in Oklahoma? I was out picking freaking pecans and looking for mushrooms in the springtime. Of course I was going to pick up the guitar and learn how to play. And so that's what I did. But I never really felt like I had a good answer for that question. Like, where does that drive come from? Why did I want to be an entertainer? And where does it come from? And I've thought about it a lot over the years, and I finally decided that, at least for me, I was kind of molded. I kind of took little parts from the people that I surrounded myself with growing up, and my family, and the people that are here tonight. I took a little piece from all of them. The greatest entertainers in the world. That man that just introduced me tonight, Larry Large, who is a high school whatever principal, something, one of the levels. The craziest things in the world happened, and still happens to that man. And I remember growing up, being around him, hearing all these stories. And I got to tell, I'm probably going to screw this up, but he always told me these stories, and I would just like live through him. And he told me years ago, he and his wife Carol and another couple friends of theirs, went down to Broken Bow, Oklahoma for the weekend, which already raises questions. I mean, you know, and no offense, I'm sorry, no offense. But they spent a few days in Broken Bow, and then they decided it was time to go back to Ada. And on the way back to Ada, Larry and his friend saw this like old general store, this old place on the side of the road, and they decided, man, we want to pull in there and look at that place and get a soda pop and something to eat. And so they went in, and the girls decided to stay in the car because this place looked gross. And so Larry and his friend go in the place, and they start visiting and cutting up with the guy, and they find out they really like this guy that has the place, and they get to talking to him, and he has this old 10-gauge shotgun in the place, and they get to this plan together. They start talking. Hey, let's do this. Will you get that gun down? And we're going to start screaming and yelling in this place. And we're going to run out the door. And our wives, and you're going to run out behind us and act like, you know, you're mad at us, and you're going to shoot at us, and it's going to freak our wives out. It's going to be awesome. So they got this plan together, and this is what I'm told. So Larry and his friend, they come running out of this building, and they're screaming. And they get down the steps, and by then I'm told, this is what I'm told, that Carol and her friend, like they're like down below the dash, or like, oh Jesus Christ, what? And so they're running out, and then the owner comes out, and he has the shotgun. He says, "You little son of a," and he shoots in the air. And Larry and his friend get in the car, and as they're getting in the car, and the joke's over, right? Except for out on the highway, a trucker thinks he just witnessed a robbery, and he's swerving, and he ends up in the ditch, and he crashes down in the bar ditch. And Larry, just if you want to know what kind of guy he is, they got in their car and they sped away because they didn't want to be responsible. They didn't want to be responsible for any damages or anything. That's Larry. See, that's the kind of guy I was around that told me this. A young child hearing this stuff. Carol's another entertainer. Carol is very talented. Carol has the ability to say the alphabet. And when I say I don't mean A, B, C, D, E, F, G. She can say the alphabet in one word. She says the word, you pick a letter, say it. Just say it, come on. Okay, she sucked right then. But at some point tonight, get her attention and say, man, say the alphabet in one word for me. And you pick out a letter, I don't care if it's Z, if it's X, whatever it is, you're going to hear that letter. And where's my family? Where's the table? Here they are back here. Yeah. My sister's very talented too. My sister is freakishly double jointed. And, you can imagine, she can actually take her finger and push it all the way to the back of her hand. And it's so gross and awesome at the same time. I mean, imagine as a kid trying to play Mercy with your sister, and you're the boy, and you can never beat her. She's just like, oh, that don't hurt. That doesn't hurt. Trying to build up my family here for y'all. My brother-in-law, Mike Contrary, I'm still not real sure what he does for a living. I think it's something in insurance or something, but I just want to say that he's a great dad. He's a great man, and he has mastered the art of insulting people. That's a talent. That's a talent, and I don't care what it is. If you've got a broken leg, if you just had a kidney removed, he's going to make fun of you about it. And it's going to be a good one. It's always going to be a good one. Miranda. We still haven't really found anything that Miranda's good at yet, but we're working on it. I'm kidding. Miranda's very famous, you guys. My mom is a hairstylist or used to be a hairstylist and was for like 35 or 50 years or something. I inherited two things from my mom. I inherited the ability to sing. She's a great singer. And I inherited my laugh from my mom. I mean, because people from the show realize, it's like this loud. And Mom has the same, and she probably is not going to do it for us right now. Can you give us one, Mom? Just a good, yeah, it's like you've heard somebody step on a chicken before on accident. That's what Mom sounds like. And my stepdad, Mike Shackelford's back there, and he's a fighter. And man, I tell you what, this guy back here has whipped every man's ass in Pontotoc County at some point in his life. But the interesting thing, everybody he's ever beaten up is either dead or they've moved away somewhere where you can never contact them ever again, and you can never actually get their side of the story. But apparently he was a tough SOB. And then my stepmom, Terry, is here tonight. She's sitting at that same table back there, and she's literally the sweetest, most innocent, quiet. She has actually never even had a beer or been to a bar until she married my dad. And then, so she's very talented, and that's weird that you're with our bunch now. And I'm not going to make a big sad thing about this, but it's anytime something like this happens for me, I can't help but think about my dad and my brother and wish they were both here tonight. They were the two best entertainers of my life, but there's still a handful of us left, and my sister keeps making more, so there's still coming out. So we're getting back to fighting level that y'all were talking about. This is so bad, isn't it? Get over it. And I also wanted to say how cool it is to be from a state where my heroes that I looked up to growing up almost all of them, and this is by accident, almost all of them were from Oklahoma. They were Oklahomans. Vince Gill and Garth Brooks and James Garner, Will Rogers, all these guys. It's like, oh my gosh, everybody that I think is cool is from here. It gives you hope. Toby Keith, and I got to say, Toby Keith was really good to me early on in my career. He took me out on tour for a year and a half, and he didn't have to do that. I really sucked then, and he kept me going. And what can you say about Reba? I mean, Reba is literally one of the reasons I'm standing here. She's welcomed me into her family, and I love her so much. Besides being a hero, I hope everybody in here gets a chance to meet her one day. It's special. And let me just say this, and I'll be done here, I promise. Because it's truly something special. I heard Linda say this earlier, wherever Linda is, that it is something, there's something special about Oklahoma. There really is. I'm not just saying that because I'm standing here, and there's something extra special about being from here and being an Oklahoman. And it's not something that I can explain. I don't know that it's something that any of us can really explain. It just is. And you know, because of what I do for a living, I've gotten to travel everywhere. I mean, if it's in North America, I have been there, I've seen it, I've experienced it, and it's been amazing. I've seen some awesome things, and I know how lucky I've been to get to do that. But I think the most important thing that I've learned from traveling so much is I'm not special because I'm a celebrity. I'm special because I'm an Oklahoman. And I just want to say that someday when this all dies down, and it's going to, no doubt about it, if y'all need me for anything, I'll be down in Johnston County, Oklahoma, picking pecans and looking for mushrooms, okay? Thank you so much. I appreciate it.